And welcome and thank you so much for being here with me today. You are rocking with your girl, Dr. Dorina Shine. This is a journey of a healed success stepper, and we're going to go over my criminal case during the time of my emotional healing solution process, the process that made me choose recovery over addiction. And it didn't get too bad for me, as I've heard it can get with so many. So welcome and thank you so much for being here with me today. One thing I want to say is when you realize that your life is on the line, you realize that there is no one to support the process but you yourself and your higher power. You go to work, you get busy, you should get busy. And that's what Emotional Healing Solutions program helped me see in my master's degree program. And while I was facing so many years, the rest of my life, basically a life sentence, taking it very, very seriously, I decided that what I wanted to do with my life was to empower people, inspire them, that through every challenge, through any grief, through any separation, through any obstacle, you have the potential if you keep forward focused, right? So up comes Emotional Healing Solutions step number 6. Come on, let's talk about it. So when we talk about Emotional Healing Solutions program, we definitely want to know that we are in control. We have mastered a lot of the low vibrational frequency areas. We've become responsible for ourselves, our lives, our family, and we want more. So what happens is our divine legacy starts to kick in. We start to realize that there's something bigger and better. There's something more than the American dream out there. There's something more than just being a regular, everyday, basic individual. It is a high vibrational stepping stone to motivate you to think emotional, think solution, think emotional triggers that make people fall down and not want to get up. But number 6 says, for every emotional relapse, make 3 affirmations to yourself, not to others, but to rid yourself from the thought that holds you, that has you bound. So we're going to look at the emotional triggers, the things that make us relapse. And then we're going to give ourselves 3 affirmations to that. So say, for instance, today, your brother, your cousin, your children, something happens and you're not feeling your best. And this is your second day being in recovery and you're really, really pissed off and you really, really got to face the trauma and the triggers and all of that. You start telling yourself, I'm pissed off. For that one negative action or thought, you tell yourself three things, but I'm in recovery. But I see that I got a long journey to go and I got to stay stamina driven. And then you say to yourself, I'm worth it. Okay, for that one negative thing, yes, you're going to have those days where you're not going to feel as though you want to, be the one to have to go pick the kids up or from football practice or piano lessons, but you know that it doesn't matter. I may not want to do it, but affirmations, the 3. For that one negative thought, that 3 affirmations, I'm grateful to be a parent today. I'm grateful to be free in life today. I'm grateful that I am in recovery and I am paying attention to my emotional healing. I am not suffering today. I know who I am today. I am worth it today. And when you realize that, those emotional relapses, they stop coming as fast. And what happens is you get tired of having to think of 3 affirmations to the one negative thought. So as soon as you hit your trigger of that negative thought, it immediately puts your mindset into a process where it says, oh man, nah, I need to stop thinking about that. because I have to come up with 3 other positive affirmations. Some people are lazy. They're not going to want to do that. So they're going to say, they're going to stop it in midstream when they realize that they've been doing it. And anything that you do in your world, if you do it 21 days, it becomes a habit. So if you affirm 3 positive thoughts to yourself every time you have a negative thought, say, for instance, if your healing, like in my case, okay, my healing came from not going to my sister's funeral. A lot of people will look at me and say, oh, that's a horrible thing. That's da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But what you got to do is you got to realize where's your emotional security. If you go and it triggers, then why go? Okay? If you know who you are and nobody can judge you for not being there, you have to take and put yourself first. You have to say, okay, my sister is not here. I know there's a lot of animosity. I know there's a lot of triggers. There's a lot of drama. There's a lot of trauma and stress. Now I'm going to say this. What happens if I just don't go? Say a prayer. Have my own ceremony. What if I were to grow a tree in her honor? Or if I plant a seed in her honor? Because I know if I go and all the familial chaos and drama will be there, and I may say the wrong thing, it may not go as well. Somebody may have already plotted and planned because of the emotional levels of negative perceptions of who they think I may be. I may flip out. So I choose not to go, because if they even assume that I will flip out, they could do anything. Call the police. They could, trigger an action, which corroborating statements could actually bring to fruition what was done or not done. So leave it be. That's you holding accountability to your emotion. And you may not do the most popular thing that everyone else would do. But if you know in your heart that your sister understands, if you know in your heart that you had no animosity towards your sister, if you know that you have more haters waiting to see you cry and become emotional and become all sinister and become all this and all that, and they have nothing to feed off of. See, misery loves company. And sometimes you just have to let that misery sit in its own misery and become whatever it's going to become while you continue to work on your emotional success. Yeah, I'm not that popular. Who cares? Who cares? So I need you to think about that. I need you to vibe off of that. I need you to figure out how this is going to impact your life when you're going through your emotional relapse. These people aren't there with you when you're really working on the inner workings of yourself. You may say that, your children may feel that you're not a good parent because you chose to leave instead of being abusive to their other parent, or whatever the emotional relapse is. Once you realize that you've gone through that, you affirm 3 specific things that you could say you will give to yourself. And in giving that to yourself, it's going to free you from the very thing that binds your success, binds your ability to be who you are for you. And that's something that no one else can stop. No one can stop that. So I thank you so much for being here, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing to this podcast. Shout out to the new subscriber. I see you, baby. You're looking good. Thank you. Thank you. I love you all. I thank you all. And if this has resonated with you, hit me up in a DM. Tell me a little bit about what's going on in your situation, because I know we're all going through some things. And for those who want to leave a comment, please do. Try to keep everything not so personal. Dr. Dorina Shine and been through it all. So this is as personal as it gets. It gets up close and personal over here on this channel. So we really appreciate you, and we'll see you next time.